All right, good morning, everyone. You know, when I'm at the school and I say that to the kids every day, it's good morning, Mr. Baldermann, so that's... And they're a lot cuter than all of you as well. But I want to thank you all for coming out this morning, and there's a few other things I want to say. But before we do that, I'd ask if we would all stand and just say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Again, I am Mayor Tim Baldermann. I have been the mayor of the Village of New Lenox for 17 years. And prior to that, I served for 2 years as school board president for District 122 and 4 years as a trustee on the village board. So I've had a wonderful opportunity to be involved as an elected official here in this community for 23 years. And of course, prior to that, I moved here in 1994 when my two oldest kids went to Schmuel School for kindergarten, which is a little museum now across from the Walgreens at 30 and Schoolhouse. And my third child was in the first kindergarten graduating class at Cherry Hill. So a lot has changed, obviously, in the 30 years that I've been out here. But looking around the room, I'm still a newcomer to a lot of people that are here. And I love that. That's something that's really great about this town, is that no matter how much we grow, we had this incredible foundation that was built by those who came long before me, and many of whom are still very, very active in this community. And so I just want to say thank you to those who've been around a long time, whose families have been around a long time, and who did an awful lot for this town. So all the great things that we're going to talk about are only possible because as the mayor, I truly inherited a wonderful, wonderful community, and we're just trying to do that group proud by how we're growing as a town. I want to say thank you first and foremost to Nancy Dye, Economic Development for the Village, who puts all these slides together for me and has to print them out on paper instead of sending me an email. So to show you how old I am, I have to look at them on paper. It works, thank you. Emily Johnson in our chamber, thank you very much for working on this event. Emily and the chamber do an awful lot. We encourage businesses to be a part of the Chamber of Commerce here in New Lenox because they do so much for those that are with networking and promoting their businesses. And obviously, not only the large corporations to come, but the small business owners, the people who live in our community or close by that have poured their life savings into their work. They do a great job of helping promote them. So Emily, thank you for that. One of those small businesses is the Sugar Shack Cookie Company. And they're a small baking company who's not so small anymore. Sam Hamilton is a wonderful person that I know from town. I've known for quite a while. Started doing this in her kitchen and then grew into a business in town and just has remarkable bakery products, but she's always giving. She's donated the cookies for this event, so we want to say thank you to Sam and to Sugar Shack. And of course, to Silver Cross. This was, many of you have heard me tell this story, and I'm going to tell it again. I'll tell it every time I'm up here. When I was just very early in my tenure as a mayor, this ground that we're on now and the ground across the street was supposed to be a couple million square foot of retail. And it was going to be shopping malls. And we are very, very fortunate that that never moved forward. Because, of course, as it always goes with me, the minute that I get elected, a recession comes. And that was great because we had an opportunity to pause and have a little reset. And when Silver Cross came to me and said, would you support a replacement hospital over here, knowing the reputation that Silver Cross had, the answer was very easy. It was absolutely. There's nothing more important than quality health care. Well, as we know, that replacement hospital, I was sold a bill of goods, is far more than that. the partners that they have, and we're going to go through it a little while later on the slide, mean that for the most part, the people not only in New Lenox, not only in the Lincoln Way area, but in the entire region, do not have to travel downtown to get incredible health care for cancer, for children's needs, for rehabilitation. There are so many partners that Silver Cross has that you can get most of your healthcare needs met here, and it is quality healthcare. They are amazing. So Michael, the new CEO, a difficult job for him to fill because both of his predecessors in the time that I have been here did great work, but he is off to an amazing start working with this talented team that he has. I've had numerous conversations with Michael Mutterer about things that are happening here at the hospital and in town. We have another meeting coming up. He truly, truly is a community partner. So Silver is more than just a hospital in our town. They are a great ally, a great partner, and as we all recall during COVID just a couple of years ago, we did not want to get our information from any politician on either side of the aisle. We wanted to get it from our healthcare professionals, and so I was fortunate enough to be able to talk to infectious disease doctors on a regular basis and get all the updated information on COVID and what was really happening. And then I was able to relay that information to our communities. And so, again, we're very, very grateful for Silver Cross and all that they do. So, many years ago, we talked about this was the state of the village. And I said, it should be the state of the community. And so what we did was we asked other partners to come in to tell us what they were doing as well. And then we got away from that a little bit and we started going back to it because we have an incredible community, an incredible community. And it is far more than what we're doing at the Village Hall. People move out here for a number of reasons, including the quality health care that we just spoke about. But this is a place where hardworking families want to live. This is a place where empty nesters want to be close to those families. And they want to be out here, again, not just because what we're going to talk about that the village is doing, but because we have great schools and great parks and great libraries, a great fire protection district, the township, all of our partners that come together. And that is incredibly unique. For any of you that work with other local governments, I'm sure you know that it's very, very rare to find a town where all of those governmental entities work together for the betterment of those they serve. There's usually a village is fighting with a park district or they're fighting with the schools or what. That doesn't happen here. And I can tell that to every single person in this room that every one of your governmental agencies works well together to make sure that we are providing the very best services. And so I am really pleased to have representatives come up from each of those governmental entities, and they're going to talk a little bit about what they're doing because they are just as much of this community as the village is. And so we're going to start with Greg Lewis, who is the Executive Director for the New Lenox Community Park District. Greg?
All right. Well, I guess I'm the old guy in the room somehow because I'm 35 plus years for this park district as we stand. So supervisor to the executive director role. So I'm going to set the stage here for community partnerships. I feel like we are the poster people for this. So as we go through this presentation, your park district is 23 cents of the tax bill. So that's $4 million. We're a $12 million operation. 60% of our budget comes from user fees, sponsorships, and donations. So that sets the stage for the big thank you in the room from all of the government bodies that are here, the leaders, the staff. We are in all your buildings. I mean, the village, the 2 school districts, fire, police, the library, the township, the Friends of the Park. I mean, we can't do it without you. That's the reality. And it takes a lot of communication. Is it easy? Not always, but you know what? We make it work. And I'm really proud of what we do with that. We depend heavily on grants for development. Our legislators are second to none across the aisle. We do OSLID grants. There's member initiative money. We just got done with a phase 2 for Hibernia, one of our older parks that we renovated, brought it back to life. It's outstanding. We're at Water Chase. I know Kurt Carroll's got a 2-year-old pickleball paddle he's been showing me that he can't use in his park yet, but it's under construction. We're getting there. We've got Sharon's Bay, which is Bluestone. As of Friday, we submitted a $1.2 million grant down to Springfield to renovate that park site and bring that up to speed. Recreation, 800 some programs for the community. It's a $2 million operation. I'm proud to say Lincoln Way Special Rec is in our district. We offered our park. We did a 20-year-old lease. We went after a park grant to get that building built, and then we built Lee Creek Park right next to it. State-of-the-art ADA park that people just rave about. The newest addition is a we go around swing, so nobody's left out. So if you're in a wheelchair, you can get on there and swing. It's just, I can't tell you how important that stuff is. Maintenance, we've got just under 600 acres of grass we mow, 56 ponds, and growing, 41 parks in our system. Athletic associations, I think everybody in here knows who they are. Hundreds, thousands of volunteers. And I'm sure there's people here that are part of that. So thank you for what you do, because not only for the park district, when you're a referee or you're a dad or you're a coach or whatever, that's how we get it done here in New Lenox. I mean, there's no other way to make it work. And our golf course, you know, the way it came about, I've been here long enough that it wasn't the crown jewel, it's the crown jewel now. We did a $2 million renovation out there, put in the top 20 chop tracer bays, put 4 times the grass out there, you know, for the golfers. We got Lincoln Way Central, Lincoln Way West. We've got the 2 junior highs that call it home. That's how we roll here. We're in each other's buildings. We're using each other's facilities. We're working with each other's staffs. And all I can say is thank you, because it's a team. It's a huge team. And I can tell you, going to national conferences and state conferences, nobody else can figure it out. They can't figure it out. So I'm really proud. That's why I've been here so long. So all this information that's here will be up on our site. It's under the financial section in our annual report. Amy does a great job with it. We get the word out. Thank you very much. My door's always open. My phone's always ready. So if you've got a question, I think everybody here knows that. I'm about as straight shooter as it gets. I'm going to tell you what you might want to hear or what you want to hear, but that's how I roll. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg. And again, we'll be talking about some other projects, but one of the big ones is only possible because of the support we've gotten from Greg and the Park District. They've been very, very invaluable. We'll talk about that as we get on a little later on. Next is our libraries, and Michelle Krooswyk is going to come up here. Michelle is the Executive Director for the New Lenox Public Library District, and I'm always floored by the amount of services that they provide. You know, you're one of those people who think, you can just get everything online. Everyone does everything online. There's no way. We could not do what we do without our library system, and Michelle is the very best at what she does. So come on up, Michelle. Thank you. See, Michelle asked how long she gets, 3 minutes. That's why we let Greg go first.
Time. That's what I do. All right. Well, as Tim mentioned, my name is Michelle Krooswyk, and I am proud to be the Executive Director of the New Lenox Public Library District for the past 8 years. I would also like to say Happy National Library Card Sign-Up Month. So thank you, Nancy, for scheduling this in September. If you are a resident or own a business in New Lenox, you can come and get a card and start using our services free of charge. So please take advantage of that and come on down. So as Tim also mentioned earlier, you may hear, we don't need libraries. I'll just Google it. AI and technology is going to take over. libraries are dying. Well, as an information professional, we like our data and our statistics, so lo and behold, here you go. This tells a completely different story. Just last year, we had over 122,000 library visits. We had over 266,000 items lended. Now that's print, digital, and everything in between, streaming. And what we like to call our digital branch, our website, which we'll be getting a new website next year, had over 105 visits. So that's our 24/7 online digital branch. Over 638 library programs with over 80,000 program attendees from kiddos on up to seniors. We serve all ages. We issued 1,800 new library cards. We have study rooms and meeting rooms for the public to use, had over 2,600 of that. And for those who can't physically get to the library, we offer a home delivery service, of which we made 161 visits this past year. But there's something that statistics can't cover. And that is, on a personal note, after being in libraries for 22 years, working in 3 states and 5 library systems, I can echo what Tim mentioned, that what we have here in New Lenox is very special. And what's special about it is the people. Whether it be sustainable funding thanks to supportive community members that approved a referendum that allows us to have increased service hours, we can open 7 days a week. An involved board, we have our treasurer, Dr. Edward H. Tatro, passionate staff like Dominic Riccabeni here, our outreach coordinator, really embrace the patron first mindset. And it's the community partnerships. We know that we can do better working together rather than against each other. None of us is as strong or as smart as all of us, and we know that, and I appreciate that from all of the individuals I've worked with over the years. So with that, I would like to say that on behalf of the library staff and the board, we are proud to serve and support our New Lenox community every day, day in, day out. So please accept the invitation, as mentioned earlier, to come on down to the library and get a card. You can even do it online, so I'll see you at the library.
Thank you, Michelle. Next up is from the New Lenox Fire Protection District, Chief Adam Riegel. Chief. Thanks, Chief.
Good morning. As the mayor said, my name is Adam Riegel. I'm the Chief of New Lenox Fire Protection District. I've been with the district for 21 years, 7 years as chief. And I feel like the new person now after all the years have been rattled off. But I think one of the things that kind of hit me listening to that is one of the things that people stay when they come here. You know, I came here 21 years ago and just fell in love with the community and wanted to stay and work here. And you see that from a lot of the agencies. A lot of us have people who've been here a long time that just stay because they love the community. It's a great place to work. So, as I said, the Fire Protection District has 4 stations. We protect just under 34 square miles of New Lenox Township. We have 18 individuals on service every day, 24 hours a day out of those 4 stations. We've been continually growing to protect the community as it continues to grow and get busier. We have frontline apparatus that are all advanced life support. So every fire engine, fire truck, ambulance in town has at least 1 paramedic on it. So we can provide quality care to anyone as soon as we get there. Be it if it's a fire truck, if it's an ambulance, you get the same level of care. The fire truck just can't transport you to the or to the hospital. So we do that to try to get the quality care to the people as quick as possible so that we can get them to our great facility here to be able to take care of them with definitive care. We're members of the MABUS 19 Special Services, includes hazmat, technical rescue, dive rescue, fire investigation, along with rescue task force services, so that we can provide quality care and get the resources we need from other agencies if we do have an incident that outpaces what we can provide with just our service. We also have a great life safety division. They come out, they're in all the schools, everything from kids from car seats all the way up through seniors. They teach and touch just about everybody in town. Most of the time you'll only see most of our firemen if something bad happens. That division is out there trying to teach and touch all those people ahead of time so they can prevent us from ever having to see you guys. And one of the other things we did this year was we partnered with the Township, their foundation, to grow our Knox box system for our elderly. That way, if we have an elderly person in town, we can provide a secure way to get in and treat them without having to damage their door and give them comfort. So again, it's just another way that the communities are working together to help each other. You know, the township didn't care if it's a resident of the village, if it's a resident of the township. They just want to help provide that service to anyone that lives in the township. So it's a great working group that we have here. So thank you. Like you said, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out and stop in and say hi to us.
All right, thank you, Chief. Speaking of the township, our New Lenox Township Supervisor is up next, Cass Wennlund.
First of all, I want to thank the mayor again, just as last year, sharing this stage and this podium and this environment with all the local members, local governments representatives, fostering that community like we were talking about. A lot of people don't know what the township does. I mean, we certainly know what the library district does. We know what the park district does. You see the village out there and everything they do. So I really just wanted to bring you up to speed and try to run through it pretty quickly, just a broad overview of things the township does. We run a senior housing facility, Guy-Sell Senior Housing Facility, to provide affordable housing for our seniors that have been in this community. Like the mayor says, so many of them from the start. My parents' friends living in the building. The township operates the busiest food pantry in this area. All of the food comes from donations from community members, whether that be money donations, food donations, or from our local partners, the grocery stores, whether it's Burkott's, Jewel's, etc. And transportation services. A lot of our people they can't drive. They can't get to where they need to go. They can't get here to Silver Cross Hospital for services. They can't even get to the village for services. They can't get for their basic needs to our stores where they need to go. So we provide hundreds of rides each month through the Transportation Division. We operate 2 cemeteries, Maplewood and Marshall Cemeteries. Another thing that we do in the community is we work with the schools in our transition programs. So your special needs kids, if they're in high school, they come to the township every week, and they're integrated. They work in our food pantry. They work serving congregate meals. They work in the kitchen there to get those skills. And that doesn't just stop at high school. For several years after that, we have that transition program continuing to get them out there in the community and becoming contributing partners to the community. Our township road district maintains almost 70 miles of roads here. So outside your village roads and your county's roads, that happens to the township. Our township assessor assesses over 17,000 parcels of land in this township every year. One thing that a lot of people don't know that the township does, which has actually become our most used service, is the recycling programs. Traditional recycling, that happens every afternoon during the week, as well as one Saturday a month. Electronic recycling, 1 million pounds since the program started. Over 1,200 visits a year. And what was surprising to me is the breadth of people in this community that use that service. We are #1, believe it or not. This community, I know New Lenox is growing, but it's still not Joliet and it's still not Bolingbrook. The #1 local government across Will County in recycling services. So instead of throwing that item in the trash, take advantage of these services. Come visit us at newlenox.org so you can see what and when their services are open. And thank you again, Mayor.
Thank you. I will just say very quickly, there's always conversation about, township government and what it does. And just being quite honest, there's quite a few areas where the township really doesn't provide a lot of services, but that's not the case in New Lenox. You just heard Cass touch on the things that they do, and they're really, really very, very valuable, especially helping to get seniors or disabled to places like the hospital and shopping. And that recycling program is huge. You don't want to just throw those electronics away. You want to take advantage of that. So thank you, Cass. We appreciate it. Next are our schools. People have come to this community for years for the schools. That's why I moved here in 1994 to have my kids come to the schools out here, and they continue to thrive. First up is Dr. Scott Tingley, who is the Superintendent of District 210.
Thank you. I also started here in 1994. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. Brilliant idea to keep it to one slide. Keeps us confined to that 3 minutes. So I'm just going to touch on three quick things. First of all, in the world of finance, it's hard to believe that it was 9 years ago, would have been this past fall, that our board voted to close one of our 4 high schools. Now that decision was based upon data and logic, and they took emotion and feelings out of that decision. It was the right thing to do. At that time, our fund balance on June 30th, at the close of each fiscal year, was 0. We had no money. In fact, we were borrowing money. We were in the red. Not sustainable. This past June 30th, we closed at $39.5 million. This coming June 30th, we will have over $40 million in the bank when we close our fiscal year. 10 years ago, my goal was $40 million. I thought we could get to $40 million. I give the board and administration incredible credit on staying on that path of logic and reason as we worked through our financial crisis. We're now in a much better place. We have a 10-year plan. Our buildings need some level of TLC, and they're going to get that. But we have a solid plan over the next 10 years. We will retire quite a bit of debt. That's a whole 30-minute presentation. But anyway, we're in a better place in terms of finance. I want to personally thank Mayor Baldermann and the leaders of the community. At that time, I'm sure Tim can remember, it was about 10 years ago, I went to his office at Union and I said, we're going to have a problem. And we sit down and went over the data. And I did with all the mayors at the time to say, we're going to need your support, we're going to need your patience. We got that from Mayor Baldermann, we got that from New Lenox and the entire Lincoln Way community. So financially, in a much better place, and thank you. Academics. The state of Illinois, over the past several years, has used SAT to track our student data and success. We're going to switch to ACT because they offered a little bit more money to the Illinois State Board of Education and the state, so we'll be starting over a little bit in our student tracking, but that's okay. In terms of our AP programming, this past year, we had 850 students as AP scholars. So what that means is 850 students took and passed at least 3 AP tests with a score of 3 or more to get college credit. So 850 students went in with at least 9 hours of college credit. That's 13% of our student population. Our goal this year is to try and get to 15. If we can just keep, but I think that's kind of an impressive number. And then in terms of extracurriculars, we offer everything. Bass fishing, video gaming, whatever you want to do, we have it for you. Right now, in our fall enrollment, we're over 60% participation. That number grows to about 80 to 85 by the end of the year. Our target is 85. Obviously, we like everyone involved, but we do have those opportunities for students. And then the last thing, this winter, our marching band will be going to Pasadena once again to represent our community in the Rose Bowl. I'm sure they'll do a wonderful job and be on there for the whole world stage. Once again, thank you for the support of our community.
I kind of wish Scott wouldn't have brought up Lincoln Way North because there were a lot of people that blamed me for that closing, saying, why did the 2 New Lenox schools get to stay? It's got to be your fault. I says, no, it was Scott's. So we put that. But the marching band, let me tell you, that is athletics. My daughter was in that for 4 years, and she marched in the last Rose Bowl that Lincoln Way went to. They were the ones where the float in front of them caught on fire, and they had to stay in time and march around the burning float. So she really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all you do, Scott. You really do a great job. Certainly not to be outdone. District 122, our K through 8 district, K about to get a lot bigger. Thanks to the state of Illinois. We can talk to our reps later on that. That's going to cost you a couple. That's right. But Dr. Lori Motsch, I've known Lori since I shouldn't say this probably, Lori, because you look so young, but since my oldest kids were at Schmoll School, and Lori was a part of that, so she's been serving this district and this community, doing an incredible job for so many years. So please come on up, Lori. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Like Mayor Baldermann said, my name is Lori Motsch. I am the very proud superintendent of New Lenox School District 122. And yes, my claim to fame is that I taught at Schmuel School. I have been with the district for 30 years. This is my 5th year as superintendent. I started my superintendency July 1st of 2020, so that was really fun. We serve close to 5,000 pre-K through 8th grade students across 12 school buildings. We employ 652 incredible staff members. We are the largest elementary feeder into the fabulous Lincoln Way High School. We feed into Lincoln Way West, and half of our kids feed into Lincoln Way Central. So in my 3 minutes, I'm gonna share 3 takeaways about 122. Number 1, the district is financially stable. We maintained a balanced budget for 10 consecutive years with no new debt since 2013. We completed $30 million in building upgrades since 2014 using cash reserves. We have an S&P bond rating of AA, which is very good. We received the Illinois State Board of Education financial recognition and the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for 3 years. That's number 1. Number 2, just as the high school, we provide exceptional opportunities for our students. We provide excellence in education. We provide comprehensive in-house special education programs. We run all of our own special education programs, and they are phenomenal. We provide a wide range of extracurricular opportunities, including competitive athletics, band, choir, and orchestra. In fact, on Friday, we found out that one of our Liberty Junior High golfers is the state champion. So we have our first state champion in golf, which is exciting. We just added golf probably a couple years ago, so this is incredible opportunities for our kids. And the 122 Board of Education received the Illinois Association of School Boards Board Governance Recognition, which basically means they're a functional board that works for our community and for our kids. But the most unique thing, and everybody touched on this today, is that in the Village of New Lenox, our staff is not the only group that takes care of our kids. This entire room, every single person in this entire room, if you are part of our community, you take care of our kids, and that is very special. So the district works very closely with the Village of New Lenox. They provide fun events for our families, and they also keep us informed and help us with our enrollment trends, because that is very, very important, and also with new development. Our New Lenox Park District, they're our favorite park, no, they're they're a wonderful partner. Not favorite, we don't have favorites, everybody's our favorite. But they run all of our before and after school care programs within our school buildings. Our school resource officer is a member of the fabulous New Lenox Police Department. She provides safety presentations. She helps us with all of our safety protocols. And I just want you to note that she was Illinois School Resource Officer of the Year for 2024. She is not here today, but that is a huge honor, and I was able to watch her accept her award. It was very exciting. The New Lenox Fire Protection District provides fire safety education to our students, and of course, our fan favorite with the littles is when you bring the trucks to school. Thank you. And for the teachers too, they love that. The New Lenox Public Library visits our schools often. They promote their various programs, especially the summer reading program. The New Lenox Chamber of Commerce awarded 122 Board of Education member Nicole Grave from the 122 Board of Education 2024 Citizen of the Year this year. They're great partners. They plan lots of fun things for our kids. And lastly, our school community is fortunate. We have an excellent parent-teacher organization that serves all 12 schools. They raise a ton of funds and plan a lot of great events. But we're really excited about the Children's Museum. And we can't wait for that door to open. We are chomping at the bit to plan our field trips locally. We are so happy that you chose that, you had that vision for the kids in our school, in our community. So I'm an educator, so here's your checking for understanding. 3 things you need to remember about 122. We are financially stable, we offer exceptional academic and extracurricular programs, and we benefit from our strong community that supports our kids. So thank you for letting me do my most favorite thing, and that is brag about our school district and this wonderful village. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. I only got a hug because I wasn't her favorite partner, but that's all right. Scott, I love you, but Lori, you're still my favorite superintendent, other than the next guy, which happens to be me. So $18,000 a year as mayor doesn't cut it. And so, and especially I like to donate my salary back to the town for people who struggle with a water bill or with medicine. So I have to have a real job. And that is as the superintendent of Union School District 81, which serves students from New Lenox over in the Country Creek neighborhood, as well as residents in Joliet. We were just ranked by Niche as in the top 1% of all elementary schools in the United States. We are a small K-8 district with only 130 students, which doesn't even make up probably one of your fourth grades at one of your campuses, but they are great kids. When I took over that school district 13 years ago, they were performing in the bottom 10% and were on the financial watch list. We now, as you can see, are ranked in the top 1% by that ranking system, as well as have been giving property taxes back to our residents for the last 8 years. But I'll get into that in a second. We built the kids a new STEM trailer outside. I know Lori had an opportunity to come and see it. It's really wonderful, where all of our kids can do virtual reality. They learn welding skills out there, not with live arcing, but they learn how to do that. They've got 3D printers that they use, for example, to make planters for our community plant sale, because we do have a university-style greenhouse that we built. And the University of Illinois Master Gardeners come out every single day and take a different grade level out there and teach them how to grow plants and vegetables. And then we have a community plant sale that really is successful, because the students then learn the business end of it as well. How much did it cost us to buy these materials? How much time did we use to make? And then, selling it for a profit. So, which all goes right back into the greenhouse. Also, at the end of this year, will be the only school district in the state of Illinois that offers a totally free public education. In other words, we have had no registration fees. Every student receives free breakfast and lunch. And we are debt-free and give 100% next year of the property tax back to our residents, whether they have kids or not. So every single residential household will get about 42 or 43% of their total tax bill back by us. So those checks are going out in the next month, again, for the 8th consecutive year. We, of course, have a 4-point perfect 4 score for our financial reporting. There's the rebates I talked about, the debt-free, and again, that totally free public education. So we are blessed. Even though we are a low-income minority district, we are blessed by having the Cherry Hill Business Park that provides a tremendous amount of financial resources for our district. But where we are a little different, I think, is we make sure our kids have absolutely everything, and they do, but we have enough money left over that we can give the taxpayers all of their money back. So I'm very proud of the staff and the board and everything that they do here. So that is my full-time job. And now on to the presentation for the village. And before I get started with that, you've heard about all of these great partners that we have and the great staff that they have. I can easily say that in the 17 years that I've been mayor, I've worked with a number of trustees. We had those that were there for quite a long time, and then we had 3 that have moved out of state. And we've had some replacements, but the Board of Trustees, the 6 board members that I serve with, they are the best. They really care about where we're headed in this community. We have a same mindset, and we don't talk about business off the dais. I, as the mayor, don't pick up the phone and call board members and say, hey, we've got this going on. I think this is the direction we should go. We do our business on camera in front of everyone else. And I always say, if you suffer from insomnia, it's great to watch one of our village board meetings. That'll put you to sleep quickly. But we do our compromising up there in front of the public in the light of day, the way that it's supposed to be done. And we do. We have great conversation. Our staff provides us with the very, very best. Again, many years ago when I started as a trustee, there was one of the elected officials who said, I don't need the staff recommendation report. I can do it myself. And I said, well, I do, because we have the very best in every field. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a planner. I don't run a public works. I have run a police department, but even then, I let the chief run the police department. So I want to hear from our professionals, and I trust their judgment. So when someone tries to do an end run on them and call me and says, hey, Mayor, your staff told me this, I said, well, unless you make them happy, you're not going anywhere, because we do have the best. So I want to say thank you. Kurt Carroll is the village administrator. We've been together now for about 12 years. There's times, 13 maybe, Kurt, I don't remember, but I know there's times that you think it was probably a day too long, and I'm sorry about that, but we have some great discussions, but he's a tremendous leader, as is the assistant administrator, Robin Ellis. I see Kim Oxtetter, our finance director. It is tougher squeezing money out of her than every time she sees me coming, she goes the other way. Because she knows I'm going to be asking, hey, you know, I want to build this complex for $100 million. Hey, I want to build a children's museum. So she reluctantly writes the check after I get an earful. But we do have an amazing, amazing staff, and I'm going to talk about some more of them as we get a little deeper into this presentation. But we talked about the past and how the foundation was set, and I'd be remiss if I didn't also recognize Russ Lobe, who was my first administrator when I was elected. He was actually the administrator when I was a trustee. And after I served for 4 years and decided to go to school district, he said, you'll be back as mayor one day. And I said, you're out of your mind. So thanks, Nostradamus. I appreciate that. And 17 years later, here I am. But all right, so we'll get started. New Lenox. It's important to us that we keep that small charm feel, that small community feel. That's incredibly important to us. However, we are growing. Ultimately, we have 43 square miles approximately that will be developed. When it's all said and done, we'll have a population probably close to 90,000 people, and we are at 30,000 now. So there's a lot of growth that's going to be coming here. It's about doing it responsibly. And what we want to do is we want to attract people to our community. We want this, the home of proud Americans, to be a destination location for people to visit. And when they come out here and visit and they see what we do, they decide they want to stay. So one of the big projects that we have going on is the sports complex. Of course, you've heard about that, the Crossroads Sport Complex. There's 100 acres just east of the hospital here on the south side of Route 6. That was going to be, many, many years ago, retail. When that went aside, all we were getting were proposals for trucks to put warehousing up. Well, I think we all know that there's a need for warehousing. There is. We can't complain about trucks and then order on Amazon. So there is a need. But when we looked at our community and we thought, where does that best fit? We have the Cherry Hill Business Park, which is at Gauger, just west of Gauger, from Laraway basically down to Haven, New Lenox Road over there when you get west of Gauger. And there's plenty of room for industrial to go there. We did not want that here on this prime real estate, and we certainly didn't want to put it next to a hospital where ambulances need to get here in a quick fashion. We didn't want trucks clogging up our roads. And so we held out, and we decided that we would build the sports complex because so many people have come to us and said there's a need, we want to build it, but they didn't have the financial wherewithal. I look at Kim and Robin over there smiling. I know what you're thinking. But anyhow, so we decided that we were going to build this sports complex because there was a need. And the reason that we can do it as a village and we don't have financial partners is because we are the beneficiaries of all of the sales tax and hotel tax that will come because of it. On this property, we have 12 to 14 acres where we'll have a hotel and some restaurants. That's the number one question I always get when I come to Silver Cross, when you're going to give us a restaurant to eat at. So you'll have those, Michael. They're coming very soon. We've already had a lot of LOIs and contracts before us for that. But across the street are another 300 acres that will be developed that will also have commercial and hospitality, retail, that sort of thing. And all of that money will come to the Village of New Lenox so we can pay for this. Not to mention, bless you, not to mention the teams that will come here. There are 9 artificial turf fields that can be broken into 29 different fields. They have top quality, premier drainage, so 10 minutes after a heavy rain, you're out there playing ball. And this will attract teams from all over the country that will want to come and participate, stay in our town, eat in our town, and it really is a win for everybody. Our taxing bodies will all benefit from that. Our community will benefit from that, from the amenities. And what's really nice is it's right off 355. It's not in the heart of town where traffic congestion will become an issue for our residential area. It's right there on and off of 355 and 80. So we're really excited about that. Team play begins in July of next year. I was just talking to the builder. We're able to put turf down right now on a couple of fields, but we think we're going to wait. Just let this winter get through so we can do all the turf at one time so it's all brand new and ready to go. But in July of next year, we're playing baseball and softball and lacrosse and everything else out there. And we have the funding for that, but we are very responsible with our money. Once that additional growth comes in and we have a number that we need to see with new dollars, then we can build a 140,000 square foot field house that will host national tournaments for volleyball, basketball. Kirk can get his pickleball on out there. So just a wonderful facility that we anticipate between the outdoor and indoor will bring close to 500,000 visitors a year to this location, not to mention the 2.1 million visitors that come to Silver Cross every year. So you can see why people want to put hotels and restaurants and some convenience shopping up there. We're excited about that. The Children's Museum, a Kids Work Children's Museum. I have to give a lot of credit to, speaking about people who came before us, a group of moms in Frankfurt many years ago who had this idea for building a little children's museum, and they put it in a trolley barn in downtown Frankfurt, just volunteers doing what they do, and they had tremendous success. These volunteers had a lot of success. With 6,000 square feet in the back of the trolley barn, they were doing 40,000 visitors a year. So they were looking for a partner, and they were kind of striking out for some of the people that they had talked to. And Beth Alderson, who runs our special events, had let me know about it just in a conversation. And I said, well, we'll take them, which, as Kurt knows, means that we're taking them. And so then I said, hey, Kim, I need $7 million. And so we said, yeah, let's do it. So we met with them, and we, of course, Kim went through the financials, looked and saw they were a successful business model. And so we said, let's build them a new building. And we are. We've got a 12,000 square foot building that will be open in the first, actually to the public in the second week of October. This is going to be unlike any other children's museum, small children's museum that you've seen. We are contracting with an exhibit maker who makes pieces for Pixar, Disney. So what you will see when you come in here is going to be fabulous. Kids and adults alike are going to be wowed by what they get. And we've added some new attraction. We kept some of the great things that they had, concepts that they had at the Children's Museum, and added some new concepts. And what we also did, because we talk about inclusivity, Greg touched on that with the Park District, that's really important to us. There was an inclusivity committee. And we said, we want to know, how can we make this best for children of different abilities? That was really, really important to us. And so whether it's someone in a wheelchair or someone who's visually impaired, we've partnered with the Lions Club. There is going to be an opportunity for every child of every ability to take advantage of this Children's Museum. And we are incredibly excited to have that happen. Our executive director for the museum, Nicole, has been working really close with Beth. She hasn't had anything else to do lately other than have a beetle come to town and take care of that. But that department is really hopping. That's gone from just a few small events that we started many, many years ago to really putting on some major events that we'll talk about. But we're excited about that Children's Museum. We're just a month away, so we're good with that. We talk about the destination, the crossroads, the Children's Museum. You can kind of see these dots of where people are coming from. This is more than just New Lenox. Just like this hospital, when we talk about Silver Cross, it's not a New Lenox hospital. It is a regional hospital, a regional healthcare center. And that's what our destination is going to be, drawing from people from many states here in the Midwest to come here to this community and really take advantage of what we have. All right, thank you. I'm already in trouble because I was supposed to be nodding at Nancy to move these slides along, but I already talked about the crossroads. Go ahead. And there's another picture of some of the outdoor venue of what it will look like. There's going to be some great space out there for people to play in between games. Go ahead. Kids work. You go, oh, hold on, don't flip too fast because there's some pretty cool designs. You're getting a sneak peek. I always talk to Beth, don't put too much out there. We want them to be wild when they come in. But you can kind of see some of the quality, go ahead, Nancy, of some of the exhibits. You see here the Worldwide Wonders exhibit at the museum. This is what kids will be seeing as they come through, what it's like in different countries and what their culture is all about, so they can learn more than just what we're doing here in the United States. Go ahead, Nancy, thank you. All right, so every year we kind of talk about what are we going to focus on. Typically, you've got 4-year, 5-year financial plans that you look out, what are you going to do? And we do that, but we have to get together a little more often because of the growth that's happening. Last time we got together, we gave Kurt and the staff strategic priorities, and they met each and every one of them. And we'll talk a little about that. But first, of course, we want to have financial stability here. Now you're too fast. I have to read the rest of this. Hold on a minute now. Can you go back one for me? All right. Financial stability obviously is very, very important. We want to focus on our development and redevelopment. Stable leadership, I'm going to talk about a little later. That's incredibly important. And the infrastructure maintenance and improvement, which is never anything sexy. No one likes to talk about it, but it costs a lot of money. But it's important if you want to keep up that quality of life in your community for many, many years to come. All right, financial stability. You're supposed to, I promised Kim many, many years ago that we would stay at least 3 months in reserves, which is kind of what is expected for government. You should have at least 3 months in reserves in case the state doesn't send you your money on time. Right, Anthony? But he does a good job. We'll talk about that. But anyway, you can see we got up to about 11 months in reserves. And we're still now at 7 months in reserves, which is a lot more. But that means that the $8 million that we paid for the crossroads was paid for in cash. A lot of the museum paid for in cash. So we're not going out to the taxpayers. We're taking that money that we have and we're reinvesting in our community. And that's really important because that, of course, has a residual effect of additional tax dollars that come right back. But we're reinvesting in our community. So we're at that 7 months reserves. We talk about redevelopment. Now, this is the area that stretches from Cedar Road to Prairie. This is Haven, and that's Route 30. This is a big focus that we have, this redevelopment of that area. It's where the 7-Eleven used to be at the corner of Route 30 and Cedar. It's where the roundabout that everybody's excited about is coming over by the 122 building off at Haven and Cedar. This is the old Silver Cross building. Talk about partnerships. We worked very closely with Silver Cross to purchase that building that's at Prairie. And we've made, so in the red, these are properties that we've purchased. We have talked to other property owners. We're looking to acquire all this and have someone come in and redevelop this area where you can have maybe some restaurants with some outdoor dining, really make it pedestrian friendly. And so we're really excited about being able to take all of this, and there are some people, the businesses that are over there that may want to stay and just be a part of that redevelopment, and that's great with us too. We have no problem with that. But that's a big redevelopment project that we've been working on and we're going to continue to work on. You can kind of see we have some plans, we put them in place, but certainly for all of you who are commercial brokers out here, retail, we're looking for that right developer to come in, and we have this blueprint, but it can be changed. We just want to make sure it's something that really makes sense for our town. One of the things that I hear, New Lenox provides so much, but we don't have a downtown area. This is something that will give us a little bit of that, but I will tell you there is also 18 acres of land that sits behind Trinity Services and goes to Nelson Road from Route 30 to the Old Plank Trail. And we put a plan years ago in place for those 18 acres, which would be our downtown area right by the Commons. We met with the property owners, we brought them in, they liked our plan, but as of today's date, they were not ready to sell, and that's their prerogative. They have every right to do that. So we have a plan for these 18 acres that will provide that outstanding downtown area, but we're not going to take it from them. This is America. They have that right. So when they are ready to sell, we're going to be ready to move. In the meantime, we'll do what we can to redevelop areas. We did it across the street with the Starbucks, the Joey's, that whole area, which was the old pit stop that I'm sure many of you miss greatly. But the pit stop, the cleaners, the Bruns, that was a wonderful restaurant many, many years ago, but had been without anyone occupying it for years, and an underperforming gas station. So we turned that all around, so we're really excited about that. There's that roundabout that everybody talks about. Many of you, I'm sure, have traveled across the country. There is no safer, more efficient way to get through areas like this than a roundabout. All of you who have driven at Haven and Cedar, it's been there forever, and the same thing happens every single day. Everybody stops and stares. Who's supposed to go? Who's not supposed to go? It's been there since Lincoln came out and checked out the area. This is necessary. And once people get the hang of it, it really will move that traffic far more efficiently through that area. All right. Stuff that's not really fun and sexy to talk about, but is necessary. Wastewater treatment plants. And every time Robin knows I forget what they're called, I'm not even going to ask anymore. What are they called? Water resource recovery. It's a sewer plant. So, okay? For all you lay people like myself. We have 3 of them. We have one that's up north, right here, not too far from this campus. That isn't used a whole lot, of course, because we're just growing this area. We have one that's at Route 30 in Cedar. That's something I used to hear about all the time with the horrible smell that would come out of there, but our water department's done a great job of treating that. Every once in a while you're still going to get that, but they've done a really good job of treating that. It's right in the heart of our town, but I'm sure when it was put there 50 years ago, no one knew what that area was going to be. Just like another one that's in Jackson Branch in a residential neighborhood right behind people's houses. Again, when it was built, I'm sure nobody had any idea what that land was going to be. So we are building one as far away as we can get, south of Laraway, west of Gauger. Yeah, you can flip to that screen, thank you. This is a rendering of Star Trek, some Star Trek thing or something. That's what it's going to look like. We'll have berming. It's far less industrial looking. The odor issues will be more resolved. And we actually had a piece that we thought was ideal that was a little further east. And we had a meeting with 700 residents that came out and said, we don't like where you're putting it. So we moved it because we listened. So we moved it. And we found a piece of property and we moved it. That is under construction and it's well on its way. So we're excited to see that happen. We talk about partners. We've talked about all of our local partners. I will tell you, there's a lot of good reason to be upset with what's happening in the state of Illinois. A lot of good reason. As the mayor, I serve in a nonpartisan role, which means I don't run as a Republican or a Democrat. What I do in my personal life is my business. But as the mayor, I work with everybody. And I can tell you, I have 2 Republican county representatives, 1 Republican state representative, 1 Democrat state representative, 2 Democrat state senators. So 3 and 3. And there is never a time that I pick up the phone that those 6 individuals don't answer. And not only do they answer, they're incredibly responsive to our town. Incredibly responsive. And so we have a couple of those members that are here today. We have State Representative Anthony DeLuca and State Representative Patrick Sheehan, who's just taken over. So gentlemen, thank you. We appreciate you being here. We also are represented by State Senator Michael Hastings, State Senator Patrick Joyce, and our Will County representatives Frankie Pretzel and Judy Ogala. And I'm telling you that we take on a lot of these projects, not only because we know our staff can handle it, but because we're getting the support, especially at the state level. We have to deal with agencies like Illinois Department of Transportation, Toll Highway, the EPA. Those are really difficult, bureaucratic agencies to deal with. And we need support, especially from our state partners, in doing that. And we have gotten it over and over and over again. We've been able to successfully secure a grant funding from our state reps and our state senators. They bring a lot of money into this town, which is money that the local taxpayers don't have to come up with. When we talk to them about legislative matters, it's not always going to go our way. We know who's running in the state of Illinois, but at least we know our voices are heard. And quite honestly, if you look at the voting record of who we see, regardless of what side of the aisle that they're on, they really have a tendency to kind of be aligned with this area and what we do. And so, again, gentlemen, both thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do to the senators and our county board members that couldn't make it. I want to say thank you to them too. But there are a lot of mayors who could not stand here and say that they're happy with the representation that they get. But I'm not one of them. I'm very, very grateful for what you do. And I will always support somebody who's taking care of my community. I catch some grief for that sometimes because of their political affiliation. But it's my job to represent the people of this town. And those are Republicans, Democrats, people who are smart enough not to care about politics. And so I don't look at D or R. I look at who's taking care of my community, and we are fortunate to have people on both sides of the aisle that do, and they will always have my support as mayor, so thank you. Okay, next. Premier health care. We talked about this with Silver Cross. Anna Robert H. Laurie Children's Hospital for on-site pediatric specialists. The Amy Matthew and J. Vanna Neonatal Intensive Care Unit. The Vanna Kurtz family that many of you know that have been in this community forever are incredibly generous, and they really care about the health care here, and so they've been great supporters. The Shirley Ryan Ability Lab for inpatient and outpatient rehab services. University of Chicago Comprehensive Cancer Center. University of Chicago Medicine for neurosciences and stroke care. They are U.S. Health Vest for behavioral health care. Silver Cross opened the Silver Oaks Behavioral Hospital, 110-bed mental health hospital on the campus, and they also partner with Rush University System for Heal for lung care. Look at all of that important health care that you can have taken care of for you right here on this campus. And I do want to talk about Silver Oaks. We need to continue to erase the stigma of mental health issues. Because in one way or another, we all deal with that from time to time. Each and every one of us. But certainly there are so many who suffer greater. We should make sure that we are doing all we can to be compassionate and extend our hands in helping them. And so when Silver Oaks wanted to come here, I think I lost the mic. I'll go here. Or is that better? We said, yes, we want that behavioral health center here. We need to take care of people's mental and emotional health. And so we're very proud to partner with Silver Oaks and Silver Cross for that. So thank you. All right, we keep growing. These numbers are amazing what we've done here. You can see our single family and our multifamily growth. We've issued permits for over 6,300 new residential units. We talked about, that's over the last little less than 30 years. 6,300, how many people live there? When I moved here again in 94, there were about 10,000 people. Now we're at 30,000, and we're gonna continue to grow. And it's quality growth. We have a building department that makes sure that anyone that's building in this town, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, is building quality. All right, Lincoln Station Apartments. You know, I call it as I see it. People say when these apartments were being built, oh, what are you building? What are we going to get here in town? These apartments are phenomenal. I went through there myself. I just didn't get one because I couldn't afford it. But they are beautiful apartments off Route 30 by the train station, by the fire station, for transient-oriented development, for people who want to take the metro downtown, people who want to be in that area. Right across the street, we talked about from redeveloping that area with some restaurants and shops. But Lincoln Station's phenomenal. They're filling up very, very fast, and there will be no vacancies, I'm sure, once they get those final buildings open. This is a big one. The Tierling Nursery, if you're familiar with that, north of Route 6 off Cedar. 223 of the most beautiful acres, rolling hills, trees, most beautiful acreage you'd ever see. Unfortunately, we lost John Tierling this year. John was a good man. I've known him for a long time. His wife Lois is wonderful. She owns the property. We've entered into an agreement with them. We should be closing on that in January or February. And Pulte is going to be building 475 plus residential units out there. Some will be what we desperately need, deeded 55 and older. So you must be 55, or it would be a deeded property 55 and older, as well as, I think they call them their first homes, which you got to make a lot of money to live in a first home, and then they have the home after that. So it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful piece of property. And with all due respect to all the school districts in Will County, Scott, I can tell you they made sure that the 55 and older went into a different school district, and that the single-family homes went to Lincoln Way 210, because they know how valuable that education is. So we're really excited about that. They're going to be building next year. So we're really happy to see that come online. We also have other residential. So Lakes Park, which is at Laraway and Shear Road, the furthest southeast you can get in our community, 244 units. Construction is going to start this year. Prairie Ridge, north of Route 6. The next phase of single family and duplexes is under construction. They're beautiful. I do happen to live there, but they are really very nice. Calistoga single family homes on the south side of Laraway behind Burkhart's. Lennar Homes is building, Burkhart's, Lennar Homes is building there. In Jacobs Field, the Flaherty's is a beautiful subdivision over there. They're in the final phase. Their public improvements are going to final phase of their construction. That's a wonderful subdivision that people want to live in. So you can look just at those numbers, and you can imagine over the next 5 or 6 years, you could see 1,000 new homes that would be built here. 1,000 new homes coming to this community in the next 5 or 6 years. People want to come to this town. All right, we talk about the growth in the other communities. Really, we are the strongest over this last 5 years with 617. Lockport had a little bit more, but they had one apartment development that had 320 permits. But other than that, we're building steady. 617 new housing permits since 2020, and that number is going to grow even more over the next few years like we've talked about. You can see the value of those permits, construction permits, new buildings, single and multifamily commercial, $77.7 million over the last 5 years with the construction value of permits. Next, we have remodel permits, 114 million commercial and industrial over the last 5 years, another 73 million in single family and multifamily. For those brokers in the room and developers in the room, you know what that means. That's a lot of money that's being invested or reinvested in our community, keeping it strong. New industrial projects like we talked about. NLX Beverage Solutions over off Haven, I told you about west of Gauger Road. 186,000 square foot tenant space. And Unilever over off Gauger, it's that giant one off Gauger, 1.8 million square feet just north of Laraway, west of Gauger. Again, we need that type of growth, but as long as we're containing it and controlling it, it really won't have the impact on our local community, and that's where it's going. So we're glad to see it show up. The school districts, the park districts, the library, everybody benefits from that tax base that's coming into them. We also have Quad Plus, 52,500 square foot building, ultimately close to 95,000 off Ellis Road, also in that area. Chick Please, 24,000 off Harvey Drive. GM Leasing Services off Farrell, 16,000 plus. And the Illinois Truck Group on Haven, 33,000 square foot facility. So you can see how this growth is coming, and there is benefit to it. Go ahead. New businesses are coming in. New businesses already this year, 32 new businesses. New owners have invested in our community, a half dozen of those, and 3 more that are going to be opened yet. These are important. These are the small local business owners. This is how they pay their mortgage. This is how they feed their families. These are the people we need to patronize. We need to go to our small shops. And even if some of them are franchisees, they're still locally owned. So let's make sure there's nothing wrong with going to do some commercial shopping at big places, big name places, but let's not forget our small business owners and franchisees who give back to the community constantly. They give back more than the big names. It's the local people that are giving back constantly. So please support them. I know Emily's always talking about that with the chamber. We really have to support local. That's really important. Community events, I will go through this quickly because I know we have just a short period of time, but I could talk about this all day. This department is so important to us. Shoveling the streets, providing quality water, having our police out there keeping us all safe and fire out there keeping us safe, that's incredibly important. But honestly, the people want to have fun as well. And if you go to our website and you see the number of events, free events, for our families, for the visitors that come to this town, you would be amazed. You would swear it was happening in a city 5 times our size. But there are so many great events. The Food Fight Taco Fest, Chalk Walk, Fridays after 5, Ladies Night Out, cruise shows, the Loyalty Day Parade. Judy Neiman is here. Judy did a great job with Michelle from the library emceeing this year's event. We appreciate that. They did a wonderful job, and Judy got roped in to do it again next year with Michelle, so thank you both. I didn't tell you that yet, but thank you. You guys are on board. Go ahead. So many great events. How about this? Smokey Robinson and Ringo Starr? I mean, you got to be kidding me. Town of 30,000 people. You have a Motown legend that you would never have heard of, the Jackson 5 or Michael Jackson or Diana Ross or any of these other people if it wasn't for Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy. And Ringo Starr, a Beatle. I mean, come on. Even the youngest person in this room should be shaking their head. A Beatle was here just Saturday. There's only 2 of them left. The most influential band in the history of music. And one of them was just on stage. And by the way, his band, his all-star band, they are all legends from Toto and Men at Work. And I mean, it was such a great show. We were hoping we could have got a few more people out there because nobody complained to me about how crowded it was. You got to be kidding me. There were lines of lawn chairs. It wasn't a mosh pit. Our staff did such an incredible job of keeping everybody safe. There's always going to be somebody who's whining. Whatever. Honestly, too bad. We want to hear constructive criticism. We always sit down after the fact and say, what could we do better? I have to tell you, there's a couple things that we have to talk about, but none of them have to do with safety, security, the ease of getting in and out. It was a warm day and it was crowded, but it wasn't overcrowded. And they put on a show that was just remarkable, just remarkable. And as Beth likes to tell me, I was like a little kid because Ringo signed a Beatles drum head for me, which he normally doesn't do. So I have that. We're going to start the bidding at $10,000. He doesn't sign because if people do that, I promised him it wouldn't go anywhere other than to my family. So does anyone want to be adopted for the right price? You're on. All right, thank you. Our Christmas in the Commons. Tell all your friends because, again, it has that beautiful small hometown feel. But thousands and thousands of people come out. We have our dates already for the weekends that they're out there. It is free. Free horse-drawn wagon rides, visits with Santa and other characters. Even the first day, free hot chocolate, right, Beth? Is that right? Okay, good. All right, thanks. After that, I think you have to pay if you want to buy a souvenir mug. But it's all free. And it's got the best decorations. The largest lit Santa Claus in the world, 18,000 LED lights. Kurt, did you tell Kim about what's coming next, or she doesn't know yet? We're working on another one for next year. Just wait. It's going to make Santa look like Ringo next to me. Anyway, here's what's really important for those of you that are marketing our community. Look at the visitors. Now, we do letters to Santa. There's a mailbox by that large lit Santa Claus where people put in letters, and our staff does an amazing job of responding to all of them, almost, because it said we received 2,887 letters and only 2,083 went mailed back out. There must have been 800 bad people that submitted a letter. No, they probably didn't put a return address. Thank you. I know, Beth, I'm teasing. But anyway, 81 different communities. How many communities are in Will County? 45, 47? 81 different communities had letters sent back to them. Think about who's coming to this town. So you want to build a restaurant in this town, you want to build a business in this town. This is what we do to market our community. Kurt's also given me a hard time because we've been marketing with the Chicago Cubs for years, and he's a diehard White Sox fan. And this year, if we would have been with the White Sox, 17 people would have heard our commercials. All right, next, go ahead. All right, that's it. You're supposed to be out of here by 1, but Greg Lewis took too long, so it's 1:04. Are there any questions from anyone at all? Anything at all? If it's a tough one, I'll answer it when the camera's shut off. If not, thank you all very much for being out here. And you are all our partners as well. We truly appreciate what you do. I would be remiss. I see Father Merck. We're also fortunate to have Providence Catholic High School in our town. For some reason, they don't pay taxes, Father. I know we'll have to talk about that. And St. Jude, but we do have other options for education that are outstanding. So it's great to see you, Father. And thank you all for being out here. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you.